Welcome to Evolution on the Mic. I am your host, Ariana de la Cruz.
And I'm your co-host, Antoine Dove.
And we are back, season 3, The Journey to Success, episode 12, Winners Take Action. In our last episode, we interviewed Miss Ray, the credit diva, about her journey to success. Miss Ray shared how she turned her own personal credit challenges into a thriving business that educates and supports entrepreneurs. If you missed that episode, I recommend you go back and watch it because it was real good. On today's episode, we will be discussing a topic that has come up a lot during our Journey to Success season, and that's taking action. Every single person that has came on the show this season had to take action to achieve the success they desired. Although taking action seems simple, many of us don't do it. We either take action months later and sometimes even years later or not at all. But today, we are going to discuss what keeps us from taking action and what we can do to take more action in our lives. But before we get into all of that, Antoine, how you doing? How you been?
Hey,
How's
Howdy.
everything?
Yeah, everything's good. I mean, wow, what a season so far. I was just listening as you were kind of giving that intro about how far we've came this season. I mean, we really embarked on this first season being all about journey to success. And as we have interviewed each of these individuals, I could see parts of my life coming through in different areas, whether it's like, you know, dealing with credit, whether it's, dealing with investing in houses and real estate. And I think right now, as I just be present in this moment with where I'm at, I think I'm still at a place of just like gratitude. It's coming up now. It's crazy to believe, but it's coming up now in a year since I had got let go from my last company, and I went into that year not knowing what was going to come, just knowing that I was going to be leaning on God in a major way, more than I've done in the past. And I have to say, as terrifying as some of those moments were during this last year, that God has provided in a major way, whether it be people, whether it be whatever. Like he's just really showed me his awesome power this past year. And so I think at this moment, I'm just grateful. I really am that this journey to success season has just reminded me of how much can come from our lives when we just trust God. When we trust God and when we take action on what he's calling us to do, amazing things will happen and amazing doors will open. So I have to say, I think that's just mentally where I'm at, is just really in that place of gratitude right now. But
Awesome.
what about yourself? I mean, how's things going for you? You last time we got a chance to catch up and talk, I know there was a lot going on. You was changing things with your business, marketing plans. I mean, you were just doing it all.
Yeah.
So where are you at
Yeah,
right now?
I was definitely doing it all too fast, and sometimes, God shows you that you just gotta sometimes slow down, take a breath, take a step, and take it easy. I'm a type of person that I'm all in. And when I get to start doing something, I quickly want to jump to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and make it all happen. And, Rome wasn't built overnight. And, sometimes when we do that, we tend to get burnt out and, feeling overwhelmed and all those things start happening. So things are still going very good. I got a lot done. My funding company, I actually been able to partner with other like mentors in the space of land bank, in the space of car rentals. I've been approached by some people to be their funder in for their mentees in those groups. So I've been doing that. I've been continuing to market, been continuing to train, been continuing everything. Just I've also realized that I have to focus on myself and take time for myself. I recently had a family friend over, and it was like a mirror for myself of having time, work life balance, and I
Mhm.
didn't have it. I'm just all about work. Like I'm like a workaholic. I love it. And I tend to put that before anything, before family, before relationships, before anything. And I just kind of seen myself in the few days that I had guests over. And at first it was a little frustrating for me to have to attend to people and not to my clients. And when I fully submerged myself to just hanging out, to just enjoying life, to going out, doing things, and not taking my work phone with me everywhere, it was a sense of peace. It was a beautiful feeling that I had. And I want more of that. So I'm just now in a place where work is there, but it's not everything,
Yeah.
because you can lose yourself and become frustrated and take that on, take that on other people. And I'm just in a place where I want to get myself in good shape. I want to, mentally be there for myself, and take care of things that I wasn't really, because I was just so focused on everything outside of me and what I had to do and what it takes to be a business owner. And I'm like, being a business owner comes with flexibility, girl. Be
Hmm.
flexible. Take time for yourself. Just go to the beach on a random Wednesday at 11 o'clock in the morning. Everything is okay. Nobody's gonna die, you know? So, it's taken me a while to get there, but I'm grateful, that God is so good to me, and he puts things in my heart. He puts things in my face to show me like what I need to do, like what's not working, because I know myself. I know how I'm feeling. I'm like, something isn't right. And he kind of put it to my attention, certain things I had to view differently in my life. And he wants me to enjoy the gifts that he has given me, what I have, and it's good to always look for the next thing, what I want, the next thing that I need to accomplish. But then what? I'm going to be 60 years old with all these compliments and I didn't get to enjoy nothing along the way. Oh, so I am now trying to find that, work-life balance, trying to take care of myself, be there for myself, and also work, but not make that my totality of my whole life, because, you know, I matter, you know?
Absolutely.
So very
Oof.
grateful as well, in a very gratitude mindset, because now I'm just viewing everything, every little small detail of my life, and I can breathe into it. I can enjoy it. I can embrace it. I can feel it. Before I was just kind of run through everything that was happening, and like I wasn't really present. So
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's a beautiful reminder because I think there is a culture that exists where you have to work excessively or you have to work multiple hours or what do they say you have to work hard in order to achieve a certain level of success. And I think hard is relative, depends on who you are and how you go about it, but I think there's a way of working smart. And I think when we get to a place where we're so downtrodden and we're beaten down by all the things that we are trying to take on, because if you're an achiever and we know you are a freaking achiever, you'll take on everything because you know that you'll get it done and you know what you can accomplish.
mhm,
But I think it's when you allow yourself that time and grace to take a step back and really either take in the wins that you have or even just to give yourself the space to, as you just said, breathe it all in. It really does shift your perspective. You take on a newer sense of meaning of life, where it's not so much about I have to work crazy hours. I now about creating that sense of balance for whatever balance means to you. And I think for me that I get reminded of that and I'm so grateful for it because I get reminded of that every summer when my daughter comes to stay with me. When she comes to visit, everything in my life slows down a bit because now she's here. And I realized that the time of me waking up to see her every single morning and getting able to have breakfast with her or just getting able to go for a walk and play with her and have fun with her is limited. It's finite. Like it's going to happen this summer. Then she goes back to LA and she's there for the full school year. And so it's during the summertime that I realize like I need to take advantage of this. And all these other things that I do and this running around and all this stuff that I have to get done can take a back seat when it comes to her saying, "Hey, can we just hang out today? Or can we just do this today?" So I commend you, Ari. That's a huge step. That's a really huge step.
Yeah, for everybody that knows me know I'm like, all I care about is work. And I want to also, still care about work, have a level of honor for it because I do enjoy it, but also have a level of honor for myself, and
Absolutely.
listen to my body and listen to what I need, and to realize that God has blessed me already with a lot, and I need to take it all in, and I want to take it all in,
Absolutely.
and I know more will come from that, because now I'm in a place of serenity, of peace, not allowing stuff to stress me out. So I know that just better things are to come in this new state of being and mind and place that I'm taking myself right now.
Love
So
it.
everything happens for a reason. Like we're talking about winners take action, right? I could have totally, had my family friend over and seen a mirror of myself and seen what God is asking me to do, but I could have taken no action. I could have still continued in my frantic, hectic days, right? Just trying to juggle everything and not taking time for myself, allowing everything outside of me to control me, and me just feeling completely like, depleted every day. And I didn't. I took action, right? And it was hard. But sometimes in life, if you want to get to the other side of things, if you want to change, you have to be willing to take action. That's the only way, and it is scary. And I know that it's something that we want to really touch on in this episode today, because I know that there's a lot of viewers that are probably, witnessing all the success that, the guests that we've had come on the show this season. Then and they're probably like, well, how can I get there? Like, and it's like the main ingredient here is a big part of it, I should say, is action. Right, Antoine?
Yeah,
Do you
absolutely.
agree?
I totally agree. And I mean, when I look at each of the guests we've had, if we go through it, like Dr. Leslie came on the show, and Dr. Leslie, she is not a real estate investor by trade. Like that's not what she got into doing. And she had this wonderful experience where her grandparents have left her these properties, and overnight she became a real estate investor. And she had a lot of choices to make, but she took action. She understood the value of what those properties meant to her family. And she took action to get herself knowledge and education of how to be a great real estate investor. And she's seeing success. She's thriving with multiple properties that she's renting as an investor, right? And then we had Alicia who came on the show, and
Mm.
Alicia was, you know, this vibrant energy, a big personality, and she got the opportunity of a lifetime where she got to go and put a commercial on with Encanto. And I remember her talking about her experience in that moment of like the fears and all the doubts, right, that came up for her, and whether this is something she wants to do or should she do it. And she took action. She went through with it. And what has came from that has been incredible, just from her taking that next step and facing that fear, right? And then I don't know if do you remember Quinn that we had on the show, Ari? I
Oh,
mean,
mhm.
yeah, Quinn was another
Absolutely.
one. Yeah, yeah. Quinn had an incredible story of someone that was working in a corporate job, working in a large company, and she knew what she was destined for, and she saw all of these people who were making the salaries and living the lifestyle that she desired, and she immediately took action. She asked the right question that some of us probably wouldn't do. She asked the right question of, what do I need to be doing to get there? Like, what things should I be doing now? And then not only getting the answer, but taking the action led to where she is now, right? The success she's seeing now, and was able to raise, like, I think, what did she say? She jumped almost like $80,000. It was some crazy amount. Like, she jumped so many
Yeah.
times in terms of pay because she immediately took action. So I think this season overall, has just been filled with so many people that have
Oh, and don't
faced,
forget Ms. Ray.
of
Ms.
course, Miss
Ray,
Ray.
like we recently had her on the show,
Yep.
and with her, she like loved credit, right?
Right.
Like, like having a great credit score, having credit cards, and then her credit score plummeted. And for years, she was trying to replenish the credit and couldn't find the right person. Then she hired somebody, paid $5,000, and Eddie died,
Eddie
right?
died.
And yeah, and it's like her husband was telling her, stop putting money out to like fix your credit, like, give up. And like she went behind his back, and kept looking. Paid somebody, I think it was $1,800, and this person in 30 days repaired her whole credit. And then that person, she paid another 1,800, and he taught her everything about credit. And now she has a multi-million-dollar credit repair company.
Right.
These people took action, y'all, like action at a whole nother level. And we want to implement some of these strategies of what you can do. Maybe you see yourself in some of these things that we're going to be discussing today that stops you from taking action, so that you can be one of those people that see the other side of what they say they want. It's totally possible. We're human. We all go through it. We all go through our fears. You know,
Yep.
we are go through feeling overwhelmed. It's too much. I don't have the resources. I don't have a coach. I don't have a mentor. I'm not smart enough. I'm not this enough. All of us, right? But
Yeah.
there's, certain things that we can start like looking into and paying attention to, shifting our perspectives on, and starting, that taking action steps, because again, anything is possible. So Antoine, I don't know if you want to like start us off with some of the things that you feel stop people from taking action.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about that a lot because I think for myself, I also am someone who certain things it's very easy for me to take action on. I don't even have to think. I don't even have to blink, bat an eye. It's done before it's even spoken. Other things I do. I lag behind. I don't get it done, or in some cases, as Ariane mentioned earlier, like I just don't take action. And I think the biggest proponent of taking action is fear.
Mm,
Like when you think about I'm trying to move forward and take action on something, the first thing that tends to creep into your mind is, well, what if you don't? I'm going to take action to achieve this, but what if you don't? I'm going to take action and achieve
yeah.
this. Well, if you fail, what does that mean? What does that mean for the people around you? How would your friends think about you? What would your parents think? All of these thoughts start to cloud our judgment and cloud our mind into thinking that what we are doing is either not good enough, or we're not good enough, or we don't have what it takes to achieve. And I think a lot of that is stemming from just this lack of confidence within ourselves. There's like this
Mm,
lack of confidence, and we've talked about confidence and this feeling of being enough in multiple ways. I think the biggest thing that we started talking about in some of our earlier episodes was about understanding who you are and whose you are. Once you understand who you are and whose you are, confidence is, I mean, we're not even worried about confidence because you know who you are. You know that I am a child of God, and you know that God's got your back. He's not going to let you fall. He's not going to let you fail. You may go through some tough times and some learning experience, but none of that is necessarily saying that you failed at this and you're not good enough. It's maybe God redirecting your path. And so I think when I think of fear in the fear of failure, the first thing I think about is confidence.
mm.
Where am I drawing my confidence from, and what's keeping me back? So like Ariana, in your life, has there ever been a time when you had to maybe take an action or something, and maybe you felt like you just didn't have enough like confidence? You're like, I don't know, like, am I really even good at this? Like, is there anything that's came up for you recently where you may have felt that way?
Yeah, no, absolutely. As you guys know, as I was saying, like before, doing the marketing and the reels, being on camera, talking about funding, I spoke about this a lot in other episodes, that has been a major fear of mine. I don't know why, because I'm great at speaking, and being here on the podcast is no problem for me. But talking about funding for some reason or another, or teaching it, has always been a bit of a fear of mine, something that I don't feel confident on. So I was approached recently, a few weeks ago, by this guy that owns a like a mentorship for land banks, and he has quite a few people in his mentorship, and he asked me to if I wanted to teach in his group. He's looking
Hmm.
for a funder, someone that can go in and teach funding, and then I can have the opportunity to coach the people that are in there, and the ones that are ready for funding, I would be the one hired for the job. And I was like, what do you want me to do? Never done that before. I've seen other people do it. They have a Zoom call, they got the PowerPoint ready, and they're just ready to take action and teach. And I was super scared, but I told myself, God, if you're in it, I know I got this. I know if you're in it, I got this, right? If I don't believe in me, I know, God, you believe in me, and you wouldn't put this person to bring me an opportunity if I was not going to do good. God just wouldn't do that to me. So I had to overcome that, but I didn't have the confidence at all. I was scared. And I did my first class a few weeks ago. And let me tell you something. Everybody was super grateful for my content, for my knowledge, for me just being there, for me being willing to spend time with them and teach them the ropes about what they need to get funding, like what funding is, like what you can do with the money, like how to get the money, all these things. And I did really good and everybody was like giving me my kudos and my props and I felt so good and relieved, then you wouldn't think on that call that I was nervous, that I wasn't confident inside. Well, man, honestly, when I got on the call, I had already overcame a lot of my fears, but that initial response of mine when I got asked, it was scary. And I did experience that, but I did take action. And what I did was I got resourceful. I ended up coming up with what I wanted to talk about. I basically spoke about something that I felt the group needed. So I analyzed the group, the members, and what is it that they lacked? What knowledge did they lack? And after
Mm.
doing that analysis, I built a PowerPoint based on what I felt they needed at that time as my first call. And it was like a very foundation business 101 call. And I just went from there on what I think they needed. And it came together. And I was looking at I researched some things and it came out good. And I have my second call next week because it's once a month. And, everybody's coming to me for consultations and everything like that. And it's a good feeling because I feel like one, I'm giving back to the community, right? I'm not getting paid to teach, right? My money will come if I close a client that's gonna end up working with me. And it feels good to just be there and everybody's gratitude. Like, thank you
Mm.
for coming into this community and sharing this knowledge with us. Like, we need it. We need it. You have no idea. We need it. We need it. And it makes me feel good because I feel like I'm just being a good steward of the knowledge that God has blessed me with the people that has given it to me. And now I'm able to impart that on other people that are going to benefit from it as much as I did, when I didn't know anything about business funding and what you can do with it and how to get it. So, yeah,
I
that
love
was it
that.
for me. What
Uh,
about you?
yeah, I mean, definitely in my life, and I think one of the things that you just said, and it really stuck out to me, was that you had that sense of you were unsure. There was like this lack of confidence that may have been brewing, but you immediately silenced noise. And you said, God wouldn't put me in this position and he wouldn't let me fail if he knew I was like, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't put me in a position where I could potentially fail. He already knew what the outcome was. He saw that within you. And I think that's so powerful because when I think about my own confidence in my own life, I think the times that I'm lacking it is because I am forgetting who I am and I am forgetting the positions and the stages and the opportunities that God is opening and the doorways he's opening for me. And he's opening them for a reason. He really is. He's opened them for a reason. And it really comes down to me when we start thinking of failure to me, if God's put you in a position to do something major and there's this sense of failure that's existing, to me, failure to me is a lack of faith. There's a part of you that is lacking the faith needed to achieve whatever that is, and that's showed up in the Bible in the past as well. Like there's people that God has called to do great things and they have still doubted him, doubted the abilities that he's placed in them, and they've chose to do things on their own and it has not ended well. It's caused issues because they've lacked that faith. And so I think God uses us all as vessels in ways to learn from each other. And what's so interesting about your story, Ariana, is, I've been in classes before where I've done mentorships, and there's a lot of people in those programs who aren't taking action because of a lack of knowledge or because they don't feel confident about something. And how beautiful is it that God used your experience, used your energy, used your speaking skills, the way you are able to break things down so simply so people can understand it, that I guarantee you it gave people the confidence that who have been maybe in that class for a year, maybe even been in it for 2 years and have done nothing. And then that one moment that they heard you speak, the light switch came on and they felt that confidence. And so I think it's all connected. Like we think about like when we talk about like taking action, action isn't always necessarily about just us in that moment. The action that we're taking, the actions we're stepping may have an impact on others as well. And so when I think about my own personal life, I think the biggest action I took, and I've talked about this in the past for me, was when I actually decided to embark on trying to lose weight and get healthier. And for me, I had a certain mentality that I had built over the years about my weight and where I was. The biggest one was that I was always going to be fat. That just was it. I believed that it was a belief system that became embedded in me because that's all I knew. That's all I knew. Growing up, that's all I saw. Like I was a big guy. And even if I worked out or I played football or I did other things, it didn't matter. I was destined in my mind to be this fat person. And it wasn't until I saw what I was truly capable of whenever I went through my weight loss experience, that things started to become easier. And it was like with the little things, it was like the little actions that I took. So when I think about, oh, I can't eat healthier, and I would find ways to eat similar foods like pizza. I'm a big pizza guy. And that was, I was like, well, how do I make pizza healthier? There was recipes. I found recipes and things online that would show me how to eat that healthier. When it came to working out, there were things that I was like, oh, I can't do that. But I would do modified versions of them that would build up my strength. And with each time my strength would build up, I could then start to do the full exercise. There was like little things. And so what I learned about for me when it came to confidence and facing that fear is that it starts with the small steps. We always want to paint this big picture. We want to make the goals and the mountain that we need to climb so huge. And that, yeah, that's a complete confidence demoralizer. It sends us feeling as though we're not capable because the mountain is so big. But if I took that mountain and I made it a small step, you'd feel like you could accomplish that. That's something you can do. And so I think one of the challenges for all of us is as we're when we find ourselves in a position where we need to take action and there's a sense of fear that's lurking, the first thing is like you just did, recognize I am a child of God. God wouldn't have me here if I wasn't capable or I wasn't able to deliver on this task. He opened this door for me. That alone,
Mhm.
if that doesn't get your confidence meter up and you're pumped and excited because you know God made this opportunity for you, the next thing you need to do is like, all right, well, what can I do in this moment that lets me know that I'm this is totally possible? Like what's the smallest thing I can do in this moment that moves me in that direction to make that change? And I feel once you reduce that and make it something that's truly possible that your brain can feel and understand, you start to move along the process and it makes it a much easier road and challenge to overcome with the fear. So that's been my experience. I think when I think also about overall when we talk about taking action, I think something else that came up in the conversations we've been having is clarity. Clarity and focus. The times when I've struggled with moving forward, sometimes I did not have a clear understanding of what the outcome was. Like, I don't know if anyone else has experienced that. For me, it came up oftentimes in my corporate job when I was working in the corporate world. I'd be asked to do some things. And sometimes the person I was reporting to, my manager, didn't give me all of the details I needed. And for me, for someone that tends to like to have all the details to be able to make an informed decision, that's tough sometimes. And sometimes you're not going to get all of the details. But I just didn't always see the vision. And when I couldn't see the vision, it would keep me stuck. And I would be stuck for a while. And sometimes those projects and things that need to be done had deadlines. Like they need to get done. And so I had to take action somehow, whether that was asking for clarity, figuring out where I had those sections of ambiguity where that things just weren't clear, asking the right questions and finding who can help me get the answers to those. And Ariana, you kind of just touched on this even your own story. You know, you did research. You went and did research to figure out kind of what is it that I need to be doing, who are the people that I'm talking to, what's the audience that I'm going to be presenting to, and what is it that they're looking for, what
Yeah.
information do they need, from me,
Yeah. No, exactly. Like I was gonna say that because even in coming up with my next class, I was like, well, what next?
Mm,
Where so I already taught them this. This is like foundation of this. Now I need to teach them a foundation of this, right? Because I feel like the first few classes has to be very foundational. We can't just go into the bag. Yeah, get the bag. You don't and you haven't and you still and you don't ha and you haven't set yourself up for success, right? Because there's certain things that you need before you get the bag. And I've noticed that quite a few people in the group are not there. And it's perfectly fine. Like a lot of us don't have good credit. A lot of us have messed up our credit, didn't really care to get credit, which you need a certain amount of credit to qualify for funding. You can't just have a $3,000 Capital One credit card and then you're gonna get funding. Right. You
mm,
gotta have at least 10 to 15,000 in credit, in personal credit. So, but just teaching them these things. So now with the second class, I'm like, okay, I already did that. Now the next thing, and like I tuned in and I'm like, what is it? What would be the next thing if I was in their shoes, right? What would I need next?
right.
And that's how I built my second one. And yeah, I definitely got clarity, right? And then I got focused and I came up with an outline of that. And it's still, even though it feels right to me, a part of me is still looking at my PowerPoint. Like, is it good? Is it good? Is it good? And I want to go back to kind of like our fear, or our like our main thing that stops us from taking action is fear, but is also based on, like, yes, lack of confidence, but our lack of confidence tends to come from our past experiences,
Mm,
right? So where I come from, right, being a high school dropout, right, being someone where teachers in school would say she's going to not make it in life, she's going to be a loser, she's going to be a bum in the street, like having people speak like that of me has now caused me to, still have some triggers,
mm,
right? That of course I'm overcoming, I'm still taking action, I'm still doing, but those past experiences also kind of make me feel that even though I know this is good enough, the little voice of my past experiences, that, this is probably not good enough. Like, no one is really going to get anything from it. Like, someone else can do it better than me. Like, who do I
mhm,
think I am? So I just want to kind of break that down, because I know we spoke about fear in the sense of, our lack of confidence brings fear, but also our past experiences. But, it's about recognizing what happened in the past that now you're reliving as a fact today. But is it a fact today?
mhm,
Fact today. But if you believe it is, if you're not aware of the past. And I am blessed to be in a place with, going through therapy and stuff like that, that I know my past stuff. I know what's my triggers. And, I can really, I know that they're still there and they sometimes might hit, but now I sit with them and I have conversations with myself about them, and I don't let them simmer and take over where I completely don't take action. Right.
mhm,
But I do want to mention that, because if there is someone watching right now that, maybe has the lack of confidence and they're not sure why, like maybe a part of it could be something that happened in your past that triggered, maybe something somebody said about you, something that you did, something that was done to you, and those things are now feeling like their reality of today, something new that you're trying to take on. And I just want to tell you that that's not true. That's the devil. He's a liar. As long as you recognize those things that happen and you forgive and move on, and it's a new day, and who you are today in God, in yourself, in your capabilities, you can get over that hump a little bit. But it's completely normal to have those feelings of like getting paralyzed and not taking action because of stories of the past making you feel like that's who you are today. But, you know, just make friends with them. Like, see them, be aware of them, but say, that's not who I am today. Today I'm smart. Today I'm capable. Today I can do this. They called me and they didn't call nobody else in, and they
mhm.
called me in for a reason, because I got something that other people don't have. And I'm going to sit in this and I'm going to marinate in it and I'm going to do the best that I can. And then you do it.